What's up? What's up? Real MVPs, Ricky Widmer, and welcome back to another. I just say my name. I should say I'm Ricky Widmer so that people don't call me a fatso, that fat guy. The other video we got in the Conor McGregor video, Dave. I'm a fat virgin apparently. So I should say I'm Ricky Widmer. I shouldn't just scream out my name. I'm Ricky Widmer, and we're back for another edition of MVP Sports Live. I'm joined with my beautiful co-host Dave Oster.
Hey, everybody.
Or the other guy, as people talk. I'm the fat guy, or the fat virgin, or the fat asshole. Dave's just the other guy.
Do your research. Number one, just in case, interim champ.
Yeah.
2, he's playing Khabib. Say what you've done. No research. Yada, yada, yada.
I say numerous times that I don't claim to be a UFC expert, Dave. Do not claim to be a UFC expert. I am a casual. It's one of those things where, like, Soapy's even said it. That, and then it's like 2 where Soapy and I are on the same page. It's like, I should get into UFC more. Should get into it more.
You used to just fall asleep during UFC fights.
Yeah, I did. Well, when you and Sean would go back and forth, and then little brother Sean would want to fight bigger brother Dave, where he would be like, let's wrestle, where I would just fall asleep on Dave's couch. But today we got a jam-packed show talking NFL and NBA. Before we get into everything, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Number one, join the Discord if you haven't been there already. We were talking in the MBJ chat earlier today about trades, the draft, tons of conversations going down about that, the NFL, baseball. Join it, link down below, or exclamation Discord into Twitch chat to get that link. Also, if you want to support us, check out patreon.com/MVPvids. You can also support us by throwing us a sub at twitch.tv/MVPvids, where we are live every single Monday through Friday. And we are also on YouTube at MVP Sports. But Dave, the first thing we are talking about today is the good old NBA draft. And not just any topic on the NBA draft, Dave. It's about the Bulls. Only the Bulls, woohoo. Only the Bulls, Chicago Bulls. And the news, Dave, this is coming from NBC Sports Chicago, that speaking on the latest Bulls Talk podcast with KC Johnson, Tom Haberstow said he expects AK to pursue a move in the first draft as executive vice president of operations. I think AK might move up because I think number 1 with Minnesota and number 2 with Golden State is going to be readily available, Haberstow said. I would be surprised if you didn't see Charlotte at number 3 or Chicago move up in the draft. So, Dave, the question that we're going to talk about first, before we get into all the NFL stuff, we're starting out the show with Bulls draft talk. Dave, will the Bulls move up
Monday after football games?
I mean, it's draft talk. It's to me, I am excited about this. I'm a Bulls fan. You're a Bulls fan. Will the Bulls move up to 1 or 2, Dave? Will they?
The irony of us not having the NBA Finals close out, the wrap up of the culmination of the NBA season, didn't get topic number 1 of the day because football. And now we're like, well, we just had football Sunday. Bulls topic number 1, baby.
But we always do the recap to end the show, so I'm trying to keep a little bit of consistency there.
I'm just, at first, I have no idea who this guy is, if he has any credibility at all, or if he's just spouting horse shit. So that's my number 1. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't know you. I don't know what your sources are. I don't know if this is just a hankering you got about 3 a.m, working one off after a couple drinks. But if it's legit, great.
Tom Haberstow is an NBA insider with NBC Sports.
Sure. What has he broken?
What has he broken?
What news have you broken? What scoops have you broken? What draft insight with AKME now that the entire front office has been gutted out of there? So any previous connections you might have had to that front office may be gone. That's my question. Like there's a question of reliable sources.
One of the big things he broke was that Nick Nurse was going to be the head coach of the Raptors when they fired Dwayne Casey.
Oh, well, that's a shocker. They're going with the guy who revolutionized their offense in the season prior to lead them to the best scoring.
The guy might know what he's talking about. It's not like we're looking at some fan side.
I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying I don't know his credibility, and I'm just saying that game-shaking news of Nick
Yeah.
Nurse taking over head coaching duties is not a shocker to after what he did to that Raptors offense. So again, your mileage may vary. I don't know anything about this front office's desire to move up in a draft because what they've done in the past, we've seen, is later on in drafts, they take stabs at guys with incredibly high potential, which would make me believe that, hey, that second round pick, it's going to be an interesting one. We're going to go get something spicy out there. Like that's what I'm excited about. The first round pick, if you look back at what they've done, fairly stable guys. Like they haven't taken any guys who are like incredibly high potential, incredibly low, whatever. So like it was Michael Porter Jr. is the only thing you can really hang your hat on. And that was a situation of like, well, we've got a while. We're in no rush. He has the best talent available. We're going to take the best talented or take the most talented player at the time. Now, it all depends on who you think the most talented player is. That year was pretty easy because Sean talked about it ad nauseum about how Michael Porter Jr. was the best player available. Had his injuries not occurred, he would have been the number 1 overall pick, regardless. Like it's not even close how much of a gap there was between other players. So for him to fall to where he did, I totally understand them going with that pick. This year it's a little different. This year there's a lot of congestion at the top. A lot of people believe that at the moment Anthony Edwards might be the best basketball player in this draft, even though if they don't have him mocked as the highest upside, or they think of James Wiseman because of his athleticism, or LaMelo Ball because of his playmaking ability. So like those 3 guys are up there, but if you look at pure stats, like, hey, Obi Toppin's a fucking machine out there offensively. Like I could see how a lot of people are saying those are all guys who could be the best guy in this draft. So in a year where it's so clouded at the top, I don't see the motivation to jump up to a number 1 or number 2 overall pick because I don't know that there's a degree of separation. I think this will be a year where, again, we see a lot of guys, in 10 years when we redraft this, you'll see guys from anywhere from pick 2 to pick 48 who are, going to be taken in the lottery. Like this class is so... It's so difficult to judge, even though we've had the most time to look at the tape. We've had the least amount of tape up until this point. Perhaps this following class might beat that, depending on COVID. Who knows how many games we'll actually get through before cancellation and whatnot. So it makes for a very tough decision when it comes to scouting. And because no one separated themselves out from that pack of 4 at the top that I already mentioned, I can't see us being so gung-ho to ship off any pieces without playing a game under the new regime.
Well, and for me, the thing that I think of is, okay, two thoughts I have. Number 1, if we make a trade with the T-Wolves for the first overall pick, the irony in that, Dave, because the 2 players that I expect to be in that deal, I don't expect it to, like, the T-Wolves could be a move where it's like, we're just trading picks, but could you imagine the irony if, like, the T-Wolves were like, yeah, we'll take Lauri Markkanen in the 4th for the number 1. It's like, yeah, you could have had Lauri, like, X amount of years ago, but you wanted Jimmy Butler.
They got Jimmy Butler in a year of playoff. That was worth.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, they could have drafted Lauri Markkanen that year, but now they'd be trading for Lauri this year.
Like on that team.
Or if they basically retrade for Zach and bring Zach back to the T-Wolves, to where it's like, you gave us Zach. Why would you want to trade him back?
Let me ask you this question. Is anyone in the top 4 going to be better than Zach LaVine?
No. Year 1, no.
How many years are we talking?
Year 1, no. LaMelo Ball in the future, yes. Like, to me, that's the second thought. It's like, well, am I getting LaMelo Ball? Because if I'm getting LaMelo Ball, maybe I go ahead and make that deal. Like, to me, it's like, I feel like you're right. There is a degree of separation at the top where we have no Zion this year. There is no MPJ. There is no, this guy is number 1. The rest, there is no Luka DeAndre Ayton debate.
Oh, don't even get...
No. There's not even that, because, like, although Luka didn't go number 1, everyone, even that year, was like, well, DeAndre Ayton's going to go number 1. The only people that were saying no to DeAndre Ayton were the ones that were like, I don't care if he's from Arizona. I'm going with the best player in the draft. Yes, Dave, it was you. You had a Luka hard-on for Luka Doncic. But I mean, like, there's no player like that this year. this is closer to the Anthony Bennett draft of like, who's going to be number one? Who knows? Could be anyone. And then let's say it's someone not out of the big three and they become the new Anthony Bennett. Could happen this year. T-Wolves are afraid of screwing up that pick, so anything is possible.
That's the thing. Like if I like the idea that, or the conversation. Okay, the Bulls want to trade up. You and I both assume the only man we would want is LaMelo Ball. Now that puts us
if I'm getting the number one pick.
Correct. If we're trading up to one, it's got to be for LaMelo Ball. Well, that puts us into a level of competition, perhaps with the Knicks, who we'd already schemed out. There's a whole draft scheme, strategy around.
Or the Hornets. The Hornets could move up to one if they want to get LaMelo Ball and get their point guard of the future.
Yeah, I don't know about them. I feel like they're happy with whatever falls to them. Like I think that they get a great player one way or the other. I don't think that they need a LaMelo Ball, but at the same time, if he's the best player, you go for the best player,
Yeah.
But I think the Knicks are the other team. So I think that between us and the Knicks, that maybe creates a little bit of a trade situation there. Because okay, well, if we're going to give up, like you said, either the 4 and Lowry or the 4 and a future, hopefully not next year, because next year looks like a great draft class.
Yeah, well, even if we gave up a future next year, I feel like we would put the caveat on there of like lotto protected.
Yeah.
But yet again, would the T-Wolves want that? To where it's like, no, fuck that. Like, I'll top 5 protected, maybe.
Yeah. So what we'd have to see. I'd say top 7 protected for the Chicago fans out there. We'll get that eke in there again. Hopefully we're not there. Hopefully we're not there next year.
I mean, hey, AK broke the curse. We weren't 7 this year.
True.
We were supposed to be there, and we weren't.
But yeah, like the question comes down to, okay, what's the leverage that the T-Wolves could use against us then? It would be the Knicks in my mind. That's the team that makes the most sense. But I think that we have, if they're looking for talent now, we have the better assets.
Yeah.
If they're looking for guys who can help them make a playoff run in that super competitive West, we are the team to trade with. So there is like a little bit of confidence on our side on that.
Like, that's the first question I feel like with this team we have to answer is neither of us know MK or AK. Neither of us know ME, Acme. But the question is anyone safe? Are they solidified on Zach? Are they solidified on Lauri Markkanen? Or is it basically what we saw with the coaching staff, where it's basically, this is a clean slate. I have no connection to anybody. If I am getting a player that I think will develop into something for us in the future, I don't care if I have to move Zach LaVine, even though right now he's the face of our franchise technically.
Yeah, it's one of those interesting situations that I compare to football a lot. And you look at the front office guys in football, and it's like, well, new GM means new head coach, means usually new quarterback. Yeah. Like it all cycles down. And now we have new ownership, new head coach, new star. And that's the question that we're waiting to see because, like you said, there's no attachment there. On the upside, though, we did watch those fall practices, whatever you want to call it, the optional workouts. And, like, it's hard not to like the guys. Like, that's the thing on our team. Like, I don't know what the master plan is going to be. If we're going to do the 3-guard lineup like OKC did with Billy Donovan, if we're going to do a similar vein of, like, hey, we can run, the real KD out there, Kobe, and then Zach LaVine, 1, 2, 3 in some rotations when we can push Otto to the 4, or if Otto's on the bench, like that works out well. So it could work, it could not, but like we did watch a little bit, and out of the clips I saw of them out there in practice and the comments from Billy Donovan, like it seems like they want to figure out what they actually have to work with before they gut the team. And I know that obviously Arturas did his homework before he came here and, probably watched a bunch, talked to all the players since he's been there. So he probably has a decent read. Same with Billy Donovan. Like coaches aren't oblivious to what every team's working with. So you got to think that these guys have some idea. I don't know if it's enough to trade away for that number 1 pick. Like it I guess it just comes down to the asking price. Like who wouldn't you trade on this team to get the number 1 pick?
For me, the number 1 pick, the only untouchables I would have are Zach would be an untouchable, Wendell would be an untouchable, and maybe Kobe.
See, I think
those would be the three. Like
for me, I think it's just Kobe. I don't
really see.
I don't really
I
have
say
any
maybe Kobe only
trade.
because if I'm trading to one, I'm taking LaMelo.
Right. But
Like
Kobe wears a 2 card.
yeah, like that's the thing of like then LaMelo. You said like
It shoots fire out there.
like to me, then you can have LaMelo at the one, Kobe at the two, and that
Absolutely.
could be a future backcourt to
Yeah.
where. To me, I don't think we're going to get the number one pick. I think that's the one where the asking price is going to be too much to where I am coveting next year's pick because I don't think like. Here's the thing though, unless you're AK and you're thinking, all right, I've got Billy Donovan. If I trade up and get a LaMelo Ball, maybe let's say Ball's the one they're looking for. This team plus Ball, next year's pick ain't gonna fucking matter because we're gonna be a playoff team. In this Eastern Conference, if we even get the 8th seed, that fucks everything up. We're not getting the player that we would be getting. It's not like we're tanking for a Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
So like the way I would trade for one is if it's like fuck it, we're shooting for the playoffs next year. We're not going to be a top 5 pick to get that. So Minnesota, you can have fun with our mid-round pick because we're going to be the 8th seed in the East.
Yeah.
The Warriors are the one that intrigues me though.
Okay.
Because if anyone trades up for one, LaMelo's the guy. The Hornets would trade up for him. The Knicks would trade up for him. I feel like the Pistons would trade up for him. Like in this point guard need there's a bunch of teams that need point guards. He's the one that they would trade up for. The interesting thing that I have thought of, and you kind of mentioned a name that made me pivot a bit, is could there be a deal? There's three deals that I marked out. One of them I don't like. I'll leave that one for last.
Okay.
The first one is simple. Otto in the 4th for Wiggins in the 2nd. To where maybe Golden State's thinking, hey, Otto Porter can shoot the 3, like fits into our system 3-point wise better than a Wiggins does. We move back to 4, and then we're not stuck with Otto Porter. Like basically at the end of the year, bye. Like if we don't like you, we're not stuck with you for 2 more years. That's one. The other one that I think I like a little bit better because it gives the Warriors more control over their future is Lowry in the 4th for Wiggins in the 2nd. Because then they could say, hey, we're trading for Lowry Markkanen, stick him at the 4. Draymond, we're going to have you play small ball 5 because you've done it before. Lowry Markkanen has the ability to stretch the floor, shoot that 3, could work well at the 4 for us, and he's an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. So either he gets a contract with... Yeah, restricted. The R one,
you said
not the
U.
Okay. I meant restricted. So that means if we let him walk, we're getting something for him. And number 2, we basically have the protections to keep him long term if we want to. So like that's the one where I feel like they may go with. Also, what works is Otto, Lowry, and the 4th for Wiggins in the 2nd. That one I don't know if the Bulls do. I don't know if the Bulls give up both of them for just Wiggins in the 2nd because that kind of seems a lot to give up. And a lot of people might be asking, well, Ricky, why are you giving up Lowry Markkanen? What is your plan then for our backcourt? If I'm trading up and giving up Lowry, I'm taking Wiseman at 2 and having Wendell and Wiseman. Wendell, I think, would bounce out to the 4. Wiseman would be our 5. And then that could be our backcourt or our front court moving forward.
Yeah. No, I mean, I understand that plan because I've heard the talks of Wendell, his ability to play in space, and we know how he can get out to the perimeter and guard. So I like the prospects of that. Again, it comes down to the price tag because I've heard things as crazy as like Thad Young and like another complimentary piece and the pick swap. And they'd be cool with that because Thad Young gives them, somebody who can defend and give space. So it's just like, what's that value going to be? I think that I like the Otto one because obviously Otto Porter, I think, is a better player than Andrew Wiggins, but at the same time, you got to look at that health. And I'm just like, that has been an issue in his career a couple times now. He's had unfortunate injuries. And he's not prone, perhaps, because I don't think it's been the same body part, but like it's just been really unfortunate. And it's like, what auto are you going to get back? Are you going to get back the Bulls Otto Porter? Are you going to get back the traded Otto Porter when he first got here? Or are you going to get the the Wizards one where he was the like stand behind the line and when we call your number, just take the shot? Because like all three of those could work in theory for that Warriors team. And it's just which one has the value and what are you going to price it at for?
Would you, if you were the Bulls, would you pull the trigger on a deal of we'd give up Thad Lowry in the 4th for Wiggins in the 2nd? Or would you need something else, even if it's like Thad, a Lowry, developing
4th?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would pull the trigger on that.
Okay. Because like the only question I have is, would you feel like we're getting enough from the Warriors for giving up Thad and Lowry? Like, that's the only question I have is, like, since we're giving up 2 players and 1, I know we're moving up from 4 to 2. Where's the value in that? Like, to me, it just seems very close to where it's like, should we be giving up? Or I would have the, like, and this is why I'm not a GM, Dave.
Yep.
I'd be like, am I giving up too much here?
The thing is, at the end of the day, if you get your guy, it doesn't matter what you had to pay for him. Nobody's going to question it.
Good point.
That's the thing. Yeah. Every deal looks great until the results come out. You know? You can call yourself a winner. You can call yourself, smartest pick, 200 IQ shit out there. But until we know like what it plays out to, do I see Lowry Markkinen becoming Dirk Nowitzki? No. So like that, you gotta temper those expectations. Would I love to have him on my team? Yes. Do I think he was criminally underutilized?
With Jim Boylan? Yeah.
Jim Boylan ruining his career? Maybe. It turns into okay, well, what can he be? What would he look like? Would he be Gallo? Can he give us Gallo plus out there?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, who knows? That's the problem. That's why I keep going back to like, it would have to be if LaMelo fell to 2. I can't see us trading up for Wiseman. Can you?
I could see us trading up for Wiseman if we're trading Lowry Markkinen. Like,
so that would mean that we love Wiseman so much that we think that he's the best player available then, right? That's a big sign.
The way I think of it is like you mentioned Michael Porter Jr., where the thing that kept Michael Porter Jr. out from being the number 1 pick was his injury. But, AK in Denver, they still pulled the trigger on him. They said, we're going to take Michael Porter. Where could this be the same thing of...
I hate that this is turning gears in my head, Ricky, the way you're explaining.
Is this going to be the same thing of Wiseman, if he played a full college season, might have been he's the number 1 pick. But we don't know. We got, 3 games out of him before he had to stop because of everything that went on? And could this be something where AK sees it again? He goes, number 1 value, but I'm getting him at number 2. Yes, I have to trade away Lowry, but like I said, I'm new to this team. Lowry does not give me like you said, he's not the next coming of Dirk Nowitzki. I am cutting him loose to go ahead and get a guy that I think is clear number 1 value, but because of how his season played out, people might be overlooking him.
No, and you're 100% right. And it's one of those things where because I've taken so long between my draft mock drafts, I asked in Discord to our patrons and was like, hey, like now that all these new rumors are coming out, like I feel like we need to get a new mock together, guys. And I was like, all right, now let's get the juices going. And I started going back and watching tapes from number 1 down again. And I got to Wiseman's and I was just looking at him. I'm like, this man's gonna be dominant in the NBA. Like, there's nothing that says that he will. Like, I can't say anything that he'll just flat out bust.
Yeah,
he's got a strong core. He's got decent strength to him right now. I think that the question is obviously it's like playing against other grown men, which we didn't really get to see him do in college because he was playing against a team with literally no centers in one of his games.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, what will that look like when he's going against real centers? Well, how many real centers are there in the NBA? Maybe 10, maybe 12. So it prompts a lot of questions, but it does kind of, at the end of the day, what do you think Wiseman's going to be? Is he going to be like a 25 and 10 guy at the NBA level with like 2 blocks a game? Could he be that guy? Can you win with a guy like that because of his athleticism? Can he be a game changer? Do you think that he could fit the mold of a Joel Embiid out there and do something special add a little bit of distance to his shot, work on that turnaround game, because he himself talks about how he's tried to mold his game after Anthony Davis rather than some of the classic centers who play close to the basket. So if you've got a big man who has athleticism, who has decent speed, who can play in transition, and who can finish strong, and honestly, the only thing you're going to have to really work on with him is touch, but he seems to be working on that shot a little bit more.
See, and that's
you
why
could have something special there.
And that's why I wouldn't hate the pick of Wiseman for the Bulls.
I hate that you twisted my words, and now I'm like, the Bulls should be looking at James Wiseman and now.
Well, and here's the other reason why I don't hate it is it would give us versatility at the front court. We would have then two guys who could play the 4 or the 5, Wendell or Wiseman, and then mix that in with Gafford, who would be just a 5, but it gives us versatility of we could play Gafford and let's say there's something where it's like, all right, they're just beating us at the rim. Gafford and Wiseman down low, 2 rim protectors down low. What if there's all right, we need some help at the 4 on the perimeter. Wiseman and then Wendell to play some defense on the perimeter 4. It gives you some mix and match situations then in your front court that it's like, all right, we didn't get LaMelo. I would love LaMelo. I'm a LaMelo fanboy. But then it's also like, okay, let's give Kobe another year with the Billy Donovan system, with the Billy Donovan coaches, which we don't even have those assistant coaches yet. And maybe it's it's too early to tell on Kobe White, to where it's Wendell too, but I was thinking Kobe White in my head. It's too early to tell on Kobe White to where it's we can go ahead and let him have a year and go with the big guy, the big front court guy over the point guard, which would be LaMelo Ball.
I think the one interesting thing that we could do is figure out is Zach a piece that's going to be on this team after this contract year? Because we look at, we did sign him to a good deal. To be fair, he's got, I think this upcoming year, and then the following year under contract, right?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I'm pulling up the Bulls contracts.
Yeah, and it's one of those situations where it's okay, is this guy a long-term sign? If he's a long-term sign, how much is it going to cost us?
2 years, 2020 and 2021. Then he's a UFA.
Okay, so it's this upcoming season, and then
he's got 2 years left.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it turns into that situation of, is he going to get a re-sign with us or not?
I know everything's weird now, Dave, because the season should be starting in 2 weeks.
2020 or 2021 season, next off season?
Usually it's 2020, 2021, but like I said, the season should be starting in 2 weeks. But we just
real hard. I'm glad he was strong. I was like, wait a minute.
But yeah, he's got 2 years. Sato has 2 years. Otto's got this year if he takes the player op. I haven't seen anything.
What do you take 30 minutes?
Thad's got 2 years, and then we've got all our young kids.
Yep. Basically. So I think the question number 1 with this Bulls team is establish who your core is. If it is the core 4, or if it is Zach LaVine being our superstar moving forward. Yep. Not saying he can't be, just saying evaluate what you're going to do there, because he's kind of the whole linchpin of this situation. Which way do we teeter-totter at? Because as it stands, if this roster plus a top 4 pick, any one of these 4 guys, it would be tough, but we have a chance to make the playoff. It's not impossible. It's not a write this team off this season, we're tanking for Cade Cunningham situation. But if we are anything like our training staff and medical team have seen for the last couple of years, there's no fucking chance that we can make it 80 games, 82 games, let alone 60 games, let alone however many games there are actually going to be in the season. So it begs the question of, okay, then we're down to a final year of value on his deal. Maybe we should look at moving Zach mid-season if Zach is healthy, because then we can get a 1.5 year value off of his deal instead of just a single year. So you kind of do the whole Paul George situation where you look at ahead of time. And I don't know a better value out there for a primetime scorer who shoots as incredibly efficiently as he does. So there's another situation where we can maybe test the waters a little bit this season, see where we're at. And if we're not putting it together, or we have an unlucky string of injuries again, we ship Zach, and then we can go full in on these young kids and just go, hey, we can move Zach, we can move Thad, we can move Sato, we can move.
And that's why that's why I like the deal with the Warriors better, because if we make the deal I'm looking at is Lowry and our pick for Wiggins and their pick. That would mean our starting lineup this year would be Kobe at the 1, Zach at the 2, Wiggins at the 3, and then Wendell. I would put Wendell and Wiseman. I would start, or maybe you start Gafford first, ease Wiseman in, and then Wiseman does
he's a number 2 pick, bitch. You start.
You could do. I'm just saying you could do that. You could do that. We've seen teams do that before.
We've seen Marvin Bagley get fucked by the worst run organization in sports.
I'm just saying
that didn't happen. Should it happen? Team with a competent head coach and now a competent front office? No, Ricky. It shouldn't. That's why we fired those bunch of idiots in the past. You're done with that.
Playing back the tape, I said I would do Wendell and Wiseman, but you could.
No, you couldn't.
That's what I said. But you could. But I would put Wiseman out there.
Physically couldn't.
5. Then, like you said, basically that would give us all right, we have, I know that we would still have Otto, so it'd be like Wiggins and Otto, but like, hey, if Otto's injured again, we've got Andrew Wiggins there. I don't know why I said Anthony Wiggins. Andrew, because I'm thinking Anthony Bennett. That's what I'm thinking in my head. See, Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett. But no, I mean, for me, then that would be like, all right, we're running with this team. If we don't make the playoffs, fine. We can ship, like you said, Zach, Thad, Sato. Just add Wiggins to that list. Like, Wiggins could just be another player that we could package or trade to try to get a better first-round pick. Like, that's the thing, where it's like, this team, go for it this year. See if, like, hey, is there something to build here? Before we just kind of tear it all down and rebuild. Well, not rebuild, retool.
No, it's a rebuild. We're rebuilding.
I mean, we've got Wendell and because like even Tim says his only untouchables are Kobe and Wendell.
Yep, that's a rebuild. When you have 2 players on your team who you know will be on your team for the next 4 years, that's a rebuild. Mm-hmm. A retool is like, we're looking for like a piece.
I like the word retool because it's got a little bit more of a positive vibe to it.
Guys, you know, this is a rebuild.
Rebuild just sounds so negative.
Yeah, that's all right. That gets us back to where we need to be going. Holding on to guys who never develop, it'll be a problem for us. So that's why I'm happy to have someone decisive in our front office who has no loyalty to these guys. He's just looking out for the best of the organization. Yeah. And that is what we need again. We can't have a guy who's old school mafia style, like we're doing favors for guys we know, and people stick around way too long in our system.
Old school mafia guys out there.
It does feel that way. When you look at some decisions, sandbagging contracts.
Come here. Tell Jerry what you need. Jerry will get you exactly what you need.
I mean, why don't we talk about sandbagging people's minutes so they don't get valuable contracts out there? Like, what do you think this is? Like, that is...
Don't forget about cash considerations, how that magically made its way over to the White Sox, potentially.
Hey, let's just put it this way. Jordan Bell, not in the NBA anymore. Those $3.5 million, White Sox made the playoffs this year, bitches.
You know who's still in the playoffs? Cash considerations. That's who's in the playoffs right now. But Dave, let's move on. Before we go into the NFL stuff, let's do a segment that we love to do here on MVP Sports Live. And that is our Wet Boys, the dampest of dudes, saggest of shooters, moistest of men, and sometimes...
The logo you put for Wet Boys, I just saw it.
It's been like that forever. And sometimes the mistiest of misses. It's just a little bloop, little water droplet because they're Wet Boys. But these are basically our players of the day. This is players of the weekend from the weekend before. Dave, I will warn you, I did not preload the Wet Boys, so our last Wet Boys will probably do it. I forgot before games live. Shit happens. But I do have the graphics made. Dave, how we do it is Dave goes first, I go second, then the patrons at patreon.com/MVPvids, silver and above, get to vote on their Wet Boy as well. Dave, who's your Wet Boy? Monday, October 19th, 2020.
My Wet Boy is an undefeated quarterback who's been underrated almost the entire time he's been with his team. And that is Ryan Tannehill. Now, people want to be like, oh, he's a system quarterback. He just hands the ball off all game. The man slings it efficiently. His stats over his last 15 starts, have been incredible. The only people in the same category him are Patrick Mahomes. Stop. Full stop. That's the only guy who's close to him as far as his numbers. He is incredible. And all he's had to do is get out from under Adam Gase. That's how you get better as a player. Is you leave Adam Gase behind. It's worked for everybody else. It's worked amazingly for Ryan Tannehill. No whatever to anybody else, but like it's now like Mr. Unlimited as our number one MVP voting, because I still taken Russell Wilson number one with my MVP voting. But like Aaron Rodgers struggled, so he's down a peg. Josh Allen struggled, he's down a peg. Ryan Tannehill jumping right up in that conversation.
The Aaron Rodgers thing, I'm just gonna say, everyone gets one. Give him one. Like if he struggles again, all right, then like. But everyone gets one game.
Defense.
What?
Who didn't struggle against that Buccaneers defense?
You gotta say Nick Foles, didn't you? I mean, let's put it this way though: the Bears defense very different than the Packers defense.
Yeah, they suck.
So like, yeah, that I think that plays a little bit into the game and how things go as well. Like the Bears defense is so good, they made Tom Brady forget what down it was, Dave. That's how good they were living in there rent free.
According to A.Q. Shipley, the linesman still had third down up on the sticks.
Oh, so what? So
story.
So Tom
saw the sticks and was like, "Wait, are we on fourth down now?" Because he saw the 3 on the sticks. Yeah. So that's the story.
Gotta have that internal clock in
I
here,
don't know if anybody's gonna argue that story because he is Tom Brady, and it's just like, well, if that's what he says, nobody's gonna question Tom.
Like if I'm the linesman, I just go, "No, fuck you. It was fourth down. You knew it." For me, Dave, I'm going college ranks. I'm quarterback, but college ranks. Yep. How this kid has not gotten a wet boy is beyond me, and it's not fucking Corey Seager. The good thing about your wet boy, Dave, was the last wet boy you chose was Ryan Tannehill, so the only thing that had to change was the stats. Mine is not. I'm going with the golden kid, Dave. He had these stats in the first half.
It's not fair.
He had 5 touchdowns in the first half. This team, you want to know how many points Clemson scored this week, Dave?
All the points.
73. They won 73-7, and everyone's like, wow, this game was 7-7 at one point. Like, it was tied 7-7, and then they went off on him. Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick. He is the fucking he's the best quarterback in college football. I know he was playing Wake Forest, but like, come on.
Has the better college hype train behind them? Trevor Lawrence or Andrew Luck?
Trevor Lawrence, because it's been 3 years of build.
I feel like Andrew Luck was the prince who was promised kind of shit too.
Yeah, I think Andrew Luck was 2 years. That's the thing. I'm going to look it up.
I just remember hearing
You're right, because his junior year he was really good. Let's see. Where's his college stats? I don't want his pro stats. Could you imagine if Andrew Luck made a comeback in the XFL? Just throwing that out there. Yeah, his freshman year wasn't that bad. It wasn't as good as his other two, but yeah, it was. Yeah, I would say he took a year off. How'd he go from? That's fucking weird. Explain this to me, Dave.
Sure.
Andrew Luck played 2009, 2010, 2011. 3 consecutive years, right? He went from freshman to sophomore to senior. What happened to his junior year? Unless that's a mistake and he was a junior when he came out. That just seems to me... Is that just because he technically he graduated? Like he did all his classes, so he was... But he was still a junior.
He graduated early, so yeah.
I would say then Trevor Lawrence on the same plan as Andrew Luck. The only difference is Trevor Lawrence was in the championship as a freshman. Andrew Luck was not. Yeah. Like, that's where I feel like the hype level for Trevor Lawrence was like, when he was a freshman, people were like, yeah, he's going to be the first overall pick.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be the number 1.
So that's the question. Like, but is he better?
I don't know. We're going to, like, in the end, like, I feel like he will be. He will be. Only because he won't have... What was it? Andrew Luck had a neck injury. That's why he had to retire. Was the injury he had, which was neck?
Yeah, it was all of the injuries. So that's my question: is okay. Say the Jets do just fucking suck this year beyond comparison, and they do get that number 1 pick. they better take Trevor Lawrence and then they better draft 17 straight linemen and figure out who, or free agency, go spend all your money on offensive linemen. Because if you let Trevor Lawrence.
The second round has a ton of offensive linemen, by the way.
They better get a lot of them.
Yeah.
Because that Jets line sucks. We saw what happened to Sam Darnold. And then we saw what happened to his replacement. And then,
but at the same time, Joe Burrows is making it work with a shitty offensive line.
Joe Burrows isn't going to last 3 years at this rate. He's going to look like
I'm expecting them to fix the line this year, Dave.
Joe Burrows is getting the car treatment right now, and I'm seriously scared for his progression as a QB because he just gets hit so damn much.
I don't know. I feel like he will be at the end of it, only because I don't feel like he'll be injured. But at the same time, like you said, if the team never gets him help, also they got to get him a coach who knows how to fucking use him. Because I'll tell you what, Adam Gase doesn't know how to use them.
No, I think their plan was that Adam Gase is going to continue to lose all the games this season.
No, but I'm saying he should be fired at the end of the year. Because I fear that they won't fire him. That's what I fear.
Yeah, that's okay. My thought is they are intentionally keeping him until the end of the year so they can just have him eat losses.
Yeah. Don't want to do what the Falcons did, win a game.
That's the problem. That's what happens. You don't want that positive momentum rolling around.
Dave said it. He goes, this is going to be the week they win one for the Gipper kind of a thing.
People are too good. Get him off the team. Le'Veon Bell, get out of town. We're not
even going to trade anything. We're just going to let you go.
Oh, the only way Le'Veon Bell gets touched football is just up the gut. That's the only way we're going to use it.
But Dave, speaking of up the gut, the Patrons going with a guy who... damn, he's good. He's not he is just he's a fucking monster. No, it is not Grayson McCall. It is the running back from Tennessee, just Derrick Henry, or as Tennessee likes to call him, King Henry. Dude's a beast. Like fucking stiff arming Josh Norman, fucking 94-yard runs. He is
an hour.
He is in the prime shape and mode that we saw last year when this team was on their playoff run.
Yeah, we talked about him at the end of last week. Mm-hmm. Too big, too strong, too fast.
Yeah,
can't be stopped. And we knew on that 5-yard run, 4-yard run, whatever it was at the end of the game, they're not. He's going to get the ball and he's going to be in the end zone, and there's not a damn thing any of those 11 jabronis can do about it.
Jabronis, I love it.
It was very clear to everyone watching that game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love Henry. Again, the Tennessee Titans overcoming the COVID-19, the lack of practices, everything that goes around that in the clubhouse. I don't know what they've done, but they are an incredibly resilient team. And now they go out and unfortunately Taylor Lewan done for the season. That's a big hit for them. Pretty good lineman for him. So we'll see what happens if they're going to look on the free agent market or if they're just going to keep rolling with the backup, who had already taken some snaps this season, but still, it's a situation where this is just a very well-coached team, and they are incredibly tough to stop.
Well, let's start with that. Usually we do the Bears game because of our insider, but for the Week 6 recap, let's start with the Titans because there's a lot to talk about with them. Yep. The number one thing, you kind of touched it in Wet Boys, but I wanted to hit a conversation with it, is Ryan Tannehill going to be, at the end of the year, will he be giving Russell Wilson and potentially Aaron Rodgers a run for their money in the MVP? Could he dethrone your wonder boy in Russell Wilson?
See, overthrow is a tough one because that's assuming that Russell Wilson will do something bad enough. And I don't know. Russell Wilson throws the prettiest fuck. Russell Wilson, I hate to say this because it's a total Seattle thing. You talk about Seattle and you talk about Ken Griffey Jr. and the sweetest swing in baseball. Russell Wilson has the prettiest deep ball in football. Man throws rainbow, and they are perfect. So I do not think that. I think it would be very tough to overcome him in the MVP voting because it seems like everybody's kind of woken up to him. And while Ryan Tannehill is now on year 2 of his successful drives and great performance, he's still not going to get the credit from a Midwest team. It's just not pretty unless they run the table or do damn near close. If the Titans go 15-1 or 14-2 kind of shit, then yes, he absolutely can. But barring that, probably not. But he is probably top I think he's a top 3 quarterback in football right now, which is insane to say out loud. But again, the stats don't lie. Like, he is a monster, and then even when he doesn't go off play action, he's still a monster.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the stats right now, the leader in the clubhouse when it comes to touchdowns is Russell Wilson. He's got 19 this year. Tannehill is now tied with Rodgers at 13. Brady and Josh Allen are between those guys with 14. When it comes to interceptions, the most of interceptions, I'm just throwing this out here because he became the new leader. Kirk, get my ass off this team, Cousins. He now has 10 of
Congrats.
them. Did you just say grats?
Yeah, I did.
And then the least interceptions is Big Ben at 1 interception.
There's a sleeper candidate
so
for
far
you.
this year, where Tannehill and Rodgers both have 2. Wilson has 3 INTs this year. But like, even you look at completion percentage, and it's like Wilson is over. It's Wilson, Breeze, and Carr are over 70%. Bridgewater and Fitzpatrick are at 70%. Tannehill is down at, I think he's 63? No, 69. 69.9. So he's right there, almost at 70.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's 63.9.
Yeah, I thought it was 63. I had to do his touchdowns to bring him back up. But yeah, it's like he's there, but he's not at 72, where Russell Wilson is, to where he's over 70%.
He is 3 points away.
But
3 percentage points is not that much.
But 72 compared to 70, there's a difference there.
It's not that much. Not that much. What's the average yards per completion then?
Average yards per completion.
It should be
Russ is at 8.9. Tannehill's at 7.9.
Yeah, Russ should have
Tannehill's numbers actually are very similar to Rodgers. So he's got a better completion percentage by 4%. He's just behind him in yards by like 5 yards. Okay. Same average. Yards per game, they're pretty much the same. 1 yard splits them. Same touchdowns, same interceptions. He actually has 2 sacks less than Aaron Rodgers. The only difference is Aaron Rodgers has an 86 QBR to 83.3 for Ryan Tannehill. So it's like Tannehill, maybe you're right there, Dave. Maybe he should be number 2 with Aaron Rodgers. Or if Aaron Rodgers has another bad game, that Ryan Tannehill should become number 2 in the MVP voting. But one of the things that you did mention is this team of how are they going to do the rest of the year? Yep. Is this a team that you see being top of the AFC? I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, no, they got their division locked already. That's fucking for sure.
Because them and the Steelers are the only undefeateds in the AFC right now.
Yeah, loving what the Steelers are doing. They're great. We'll talk about them in a minute. Mm-hmm. But no, Titans, I think, are definitely a 10-win team. The question is, like, how many more can they get to? Uh-oh. Guess
who they play?
Who?
Week 7.
Steelers?
Titans in Tennessee.
Perfect.
The only criminal thing, David, it's not a primetime game. It's a noon game.
Let's see if we can flex that bitch.
It's a nooner. You can't flex until week 17.
They can flex
like
whenever they
15
want.
Something. Well,
somebody will have COVID. They'll have to fill in. You know.
The only thing is, and it's a weird fucking rule, is that every team needs at least one primetime game. It's weird. It's weird. Every team needs a primetime game, but you're like, yeah, that should be like. I was just gonna be like, oh, who do they play? And it's like, oh, they've got Baltimore later this season. They've got the Colts. Obviously twice because division. They haven't played them yet. And then it's like, oh shit, my eyes got wide because this week we're going to be looking at Steelers-Titans, which will probably be the game of the week this week.
Probably. That'd be the test.
Yeah, because like for me, it's the Titans right now. If they are the number 1 seed, they might be the favorite to win the Super Bowl in the AFC. Because right now it's, what, you got 4 teams?
Did you forget about the champs?
I mean, home field advantage, baby. That's what it comes down to.
Here?
The champs are here, but if I'm playing anywhere, I'd rather be playing in Tennessee than Arrowhead. But yes, that'd be some sweet revenge, some bulletin board material for Tennessee as well. Let's get into the other games, though, Dave. We'll go back to the huge. Bears-Panthers. Your Bears get the win, 23-16.
Bears play defense. NFL hates defense. Therefore, we get more penalties and bullshit NFL ref-driven drives. Like, I swear to God, those refs wanted to hand the game off. They got a message from above, and like, oh, the Panthers should get a touchdown drive here. Oh, okay, yeah, we're just gonna. That's a PI over there. That's a this. It's bullshit. Bullshit everywhere. Bears are better than I don't know. Now what are we? The worst 5-1 team you've ever seen?
The worst 5-1 team.
Like, get the fuck out of here. We're legitimate. We're just winning better than everybody else because guess what? Nobody likes to see defenses win games. Everybody talked up, all this other shit. Like, yeah, we get it. Offense is great. Bears do it differently. We're crunch time. We're an incredible defense. Eddie Jackson's a fucking monster out there. We've got Khalil Mack, low-key being in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, and he's angry because he's not been brought up by name specifically. He talked about that.
I mean, though, Dave, would you debate that you're the worst 5-1 team? Because the only other 5-1 teams are the Ravens and the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs are about to win.
I'm just saying.
Out of those three teams, there's one that I'm not picking above the other two. If you put a gun to my head, I'm just saying.
Watched what the Chiefs defense did to the Ravens. We're better defense than the Chiefs.
Good point. Good point. Also, with the Ravens, what are they going to do in the playoffs? Because last year, Lamar kind of choked. Well, Lamar and the Ravens kind of choked.
And we watched what the Vegas Raiders. I laughed when I said Vegas because I was like, "Oh, am I going to get it right this time?"
Yeah.
The Vegas Raiders did to the Chiefs, and I go, "Oh, on offense with a really good running back, dominating the game. Well, we don't really have that, but like maybe the short passing game can do something, and the dumps. Maybe there's a way we could fight that battle out. But I feel pretty good about the Bears right now. Unfortunate game for the Carolina Panthers. I think Mike Davis is toast. I don't know how serious that injury was.
Yeah. Hopefully Christian McCaffrey's coming back.
Run CMC gonna be back in. Can't wait for fantasy. He's gonna be great for me yet again.
Yeah.
I don't love this Panthers team. They're a good, not great team. They're a 7-9 team.
Yeah.
That's who they are. I'm not shocked, but I'm just really excited about the Bears team.
I'll be completely honest. The Bears are today. There were tons of Bear posts of how it started, and it's basically all the ESPN people saying that the Bears were going to be in dead last, which I think is a travesty. It's a travesty not because of how the Bears are doing, but because the Detroit Lions should always be in last place in predictions until they prove us otherwise. But then you have they're like, well, how it's going, and it's like Bears at the top of the division at 5-1 because the Packers had their bye week, so the Packers are 4-1. So your percentage
and we beat
is
the
better.
Bucs. They did.
Yeah,
just saying.
Yeah, I mean, to me though, the Carolina Panthers, they're playing with house money in my opinion, only because they are at the amount of wins I thought they were going to have this year. They're going to be 3-13, not a good year. I didn't trust in Teddy Bridgewater. He proved me wrong. So this is one where it's you take it because it's okay, this defense was really good. And without Christian McCaffrey.
You build off this. I think you're absolutely right. You get the momentum going. They look way better than anybody expected them to. So shout out to them, but it just wasn't their game.
The next game though, Bengals and Colts. This is the one where Dave, fun fact, every single week this season, we have had one game where an opponent has been down by at least 16 points, and the other team has come back and won. This was the game that continued that streak. It was, I believe, 21 or 20. Yeah, it was I'm going to look up the play-by-play because I want to get this right of what the lead was. It was 24-7, Dave. Actually, 21-0. Then it went to 21-7, 24-7. So it was a 21-point lead for the Bengals. And from that point on, the Bengals could only score in half, 3 points. They lose 31-27. Is this a bigger deal for the Colts or a bigger deal for the Bengals? That the Bengals let one get away, or the Colts were we slept early and this is who we really are at the end of the game?
It was a really great game for the Colts because they looked amazing in that second quarter, and then it was did they blow their load too early? Was that everything they had? And it came down to a little bit of nail biting down the line. Philip Rivers probably saved his job there because a lot of people were getting a little pissed at Phil Rivers
Yeah.
dang gummit throwing all them picks and costing the Colts games because their defense plays their minds out for the majority of these games, and they did a great job shutting it down when it counted against the Bengals. So credit to that Colts D for tightening up things when they need to. The wins will come eventually for Joe Burrows and T. Higgins out there. But in the meantime, this is a Colts team that's ready to win now, and I'm glad they pulled out the massive comeback.
Yeah, for me, I look at it and I go, if I'm a Colts fan, great we got the win, but I'm nervous. Like, speaking, if I was a Colts fan, I'd be nervous because, like, this team starts out slow. They start games out slow. The Bengals, luckily, were a team that you can get up and score against. Look at the Bears game, though. Yet again, that was a tougher defense. You got the win in that one, but it was like you barely get the win in that game against the Bears. You haven't looked great in every single game. Like, I thought this team was going to be very different. And on the Bengals, it's like you're just looking at this and going, like you said, we didn't get the win, but holy shit, my team actually looked good. Yeah, my team was fucking slinging it out there.
Where's the issue at? Well, maybe it's the play calling because you hate Joe Mixon, can't get him any run out there.
Yeah.
Had they been able to sustain a running game, this would have been a different game. Cincinnati had the game in their hands, like you said. They had a massive lead to start this game, and they couldn't get their run game going, which means, you know what? The clock doesn't stop. They can't solve. If you can let the clock roll because your running game works, guess what? Game gets a whole lot quicker, and they can shut that shit down. Instead, lots of short possessions, lots of punts, couple turnovers. Colts get the win.
Yeah,
how it is.
It's just one where it's like, if I'm the Colts moving forward, though, something needs to change. Something needs to. They need to kind of like.
No idea who you are, but you had a great game.
Yeah, they gotta heat it up more because, like I said, they start slow too early, and luckily they were able to get the win. Dave, the next game, Falcons Vikings, and
you start with this one. You just
Kirk Cousins, like, basically, I'm a Chicago guy, Dave. Everyone knows, like, Vikings fan living in Chicago. I'm gonna put my Chicago fandom hat on, because Chicago fans, we're all the same. So if you're a Minnesota fan and you're like, he doesn't talk like a Minnesota guy, it's because I grew up in Chicago. So it's basically a Bears. Think of like how Bears fans act, but I'm a Vikings fan. Fuck Kirk Cousins. Get him out of town. I am done with Kirk Cousins. I am done with him off the bandwagon. I don't even want him on my team anymore. Do not want him on this team. He signed for 2 more years after this. I get that. Get him off the team. Don't want him. Don't care. I was the biggest, well, you know what? Like, after that first year in the press conference, after the season, like, everyone's bashing him. Like, I remember it as it was yesterday. I'm watching his press conference after the game on Facebook Live, and Minnesota Viking fans are bashing him. It's basically, get out of here. We don't want you. You're never going to win here. And I was like, let's give Kurt the benefit of the doubt. It was year 1. Let's build off this. Yes, we went to the playoffs against the Saints. We got a big win against them. Holy shit, Kirk can finally win a playoff game. But this was ridiculous. This Falcons team was horrible in the secondary. And he threw how many picks, Dave? Not 1, not 2, but 3 effing picks. Yes, I know we didn't have Dalvin Cook. The Falcons had a really good defensive game plan of, we're just going to shut Madison down, and we're just going to let Kirk Cousins try to do it all. Yes, Jefferson had a great game. He had over 150 yards, 2 tutties, but I'm sorry, Kirk Cousins, I don't want you on this team anymore. I don't even know what the answer is at quarterback because we're not going to get Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if I even want Justin Fields. I don't know if I want Trey Lance yet. And next year, I don't even know what quarterbacks are going to be in next year's pool for a draft. So, like, for me, I'm sitting there going, what do I do with this team? I am almost on the bandwagon, Dave, of I hope the Jets win some games so that we can tank for Trevor Lawrence. That's where I'm at.
I mean, you can always take over their leftover trash and Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
I like Sam Darnold.
Yeah, good point. It's just, I'm done with this. I'm done with Kirk Cousins. I never thought I would get to this day, but I'm done. I don't want him on this team anymore, and that's where I'm at. Great game, though, for the Falcons to win a game after they fire their coach.
They had an all
Matt Ryan looked great. Matt Ryan also made me look like a fucking lowercase G goat, Dave, because I was like, in fantasy, I'm like, I'm going to drop him. I got Big Ben. And then he just fucking blows off this week.
371 yards, 4 touchdowns.
And I lost this week in fantasy. So you know what? I got egg on my face.
Yep. I don't need to add.
Dave's like, I got nothing. I'm just going to leave it at
You just
that.
unloaded. I just told you so. In the picks, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm gonna. It's like you with the Bears. I'm gonna go with my heart every time.
You gotta pick
with that one. The next one, Denver and New England. I'm actually surprised with this one because neither quarterback played great. Denver does enough to get the win. Drew Lock,
one man on Denver did enough to get the win.
Yeah,
one man.
Good point.
That's all it took on Denver. And I do want to give credit to the Patriots because they got stuck in a situation where they weren't able to get practices in with Cam. I think he had like 3 practices in before this game, obviously due to the COVID situation.
Yeah.
Definitely not ideal by any means. But you have to admit that Brandon McManus just kicking the ball through the uprights time after
like a
time
56-yard
time
kick.
after time after time. 6 for 6 on the day.
Yeah, 52 yards. He had a 52-yarder and a 54-yarder in that game.
Yep. I mean, just catch money. Like, it's got to suck. The Patriots suck. Like, I loved watching this happen because it was like, oh yeah, that's a team that everybody was like, yeah. When I was like, yeah, I don't think the Patriots would be that good this year, and they came out and they held their own against Seattle. I was like, oh fuck, am I gonna eat my words this year? Like, is this a situation where I'm gonna look bad?
Yeah.
Turns out, on no practice, they don't have any talent at wide receiver. None of their wide receivers are good at football. It's unfortunate because
we kind of knew that though. Like,
and that's the problem is like they literally refuse to draft talent at wide receiver. Like, we look at the kids who came out from this year's class alone.
Yeah.
You look at T. Higgins. You look at Ruggs. You look at Justin Jefferson. You look at CeeDee Lamb. Like, literally, I think they're like, 8 for 8 on like the first 8 wide receivers taken are having a great start to the year, or at least a good start to the year.
Here, let's see what wide receivers went after them. So they
see what this year's draft.
So their first pick was the second pick, 37th overall. Who had their first pick? Oh yeah, the Chargers had their first pick when they traded to them. If they would have had their first selection, they could have taken Brandon Ayuk from the 49ers. You had T. Higgins go after him, and Michael Pittman Jr., who's on the Colts. After 37, you have Laviska Shenault. He's there. KJ Hamler. At 49, just the guy having the best rookie season ever for a wide receiver, Chase Claypool, who's now the number one. He went 49th.
Mapletron. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, Mapletron.
Yeah, it's going big. It's gone big time now. Yeah. I brought it up last week because I heard it. I thought it was great. And then he's all in on it. Like,
could you imagine if the Patriots would have taken Chase Claypool?
I mean, there's just so many wide receivers that they could have taken.
Yeah, like you've got Denzel Mims, who's with New York. Yeah, and then like going down in the third round, Brian Edwards was the next one after that. But it's like, yeah, this is a team that we know why they don't draft wide receivers though, and that was because Tom Brady's always going to make our receivers look good. And also it was like, we have Gronk, we have Edelman. Who else do we need? Well, guess what? You don't have Gronk no more. You don't have Tom Brady anymore. Cam Newton is good, but if Cam Newton doesn't have a reliable number one target, you're not going to be as good as you think you are.
Yeah. No, it's just.
Also, Tim Patrick might be the guy to pick up in fantasy now. 2 games of over 100 yards, 8 targets. Like,
he's the dude over there in Denver. I thought it was going to be Jerry Jeudy, but it's Tim Patrick right now.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on Broncos Patriots?
It's a good game. It's a good game on the Broncos side. You know, obviously, quarterback coming back again. Very much similar thing. Obviously, Drew Lock from an injury, not quite the same as COVID, but both out with issues. So he didn't look good. He looked about as bad as you could look for a starting quarterback outside Jimmy Garoppolo last week. Yeah. But you know what, Philip Lindsay? Turns out, when your other running back tandem buddy gets yourself in trouble, you can have a game to shine in.
Yeah. The next game, though, Dave, I've got to go ahead and I got to give the slow clap, only because good job on the Giants. You won a game. You're no longer in the 0-16 pool. like your New York Jet buddies. I also have a fun fact for you, Dave, and you already know this fun fact because I told you while we were playing COD yesterday. Danny Dimes had a touchdown in this game. He had one touchdown. It is his first touchdown throw since week 1 against the Steelers. He had 2 touchdowns in week 1 against the Bears, Niners, Rams, and Cowboys. Hadn't thrown a touchdown at all. He finally gets back with his 3rd touchdown of the season. This is just one to where it's like Washington gave this game away at the end. And it's just one to where it's like, you know what? The 2 worst teams in the NFC least are going at each other. Washington, I expected you to get the win, but I guess not even you can beat a lowly Giants team. And it's like the Giants, it's like, woo, we got to win. Yes. And then it's just move on.
Again, play of the game was Daniel Jones has the ball. Daniel Jones has the ball as he's breaking away on his 49-yard run. Daniel Jones is the entire offense on that team, and I love the kid still. Now, would I replace him with Trevor Lawrence in a heartbeat? But doesn't look like they're going to be in that situation.
But would you replace him with Justin Fields? I know we haven't seen him yet this year, though.
That's the thing. I don't know if I would. There's just something special about Danny Dimes out there. So shout out to that Giants team. I'm glad that they won because I picked them, and I will continue to pick winners.
And also, this will be the first week we see Justin Fields as the Big Ten opens up this weekend. Ohio State has Rutgers. We should
maybe do a little Saturday special then.
Sure.
A little Saturday special.
People are posting like the full schedule for football, like for college football, and they're like, oh my God, this looks so much better. Because now there's just more games. It looks like a full college slate of games. The next one, though, Dave, we got bird-on-bird action. Ravens with a 2-point win over the Eagles. Eagles almost coming back and winning this one, scoring 22 points in the 4th quarter. Carson Wentz, who came in with a league-leading 9 interceptions, threw 0 of them against the Ravens. Yep. Lamar Jackson, he had 2 tutties, one on the ground, one through the air. But should the Ravens be concerned after a game like this, although they got the win?
No, because did Mark Ingram go down with an injury? Because I know Gus got 14 carries, and I was like, well, that doesn't seem right. Because I heard the Gus bus was rolling. I was like, oh, that's never
he got
good.
A touchdown. Mark Ingram, the Ravens don't think Mark Ingram's injury is long-term. So the Ravens hung on 30-28 in the win over the injury without running back Mark Ingram. Ingram hurt his ankle in the first half, and the team went with J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards out of the backfield for the stretch as a result.
Yeah, for some awful reason, Gus Edwards had 14 carries to J.K. Dobbins 9. J.K. Dobbins is the guy, and Gus Edwards can't carry his jockstrap, so I don't know what's up with that.
Edwards got the touchdown, though.
Yeah, I know. I'm a little pissed about it.
He got the
tutty. A little unhappy. Carson Wentz saved his job. The man was being scrutinized at halftime.
That's now 2 quarterbacks this week that have saved their job.
At halftime, the game thread for that on Reddit was calling for Jalen Hurts. Like,
really?
It was solid fucking wall of 40 people being like, get Jalen Hurts in this game now. We're getting throttled, and Carson Wentz can't get his shit together. And Carson Wentz pulled out a little bit of magic at the end of the game. Not enough to win, but enough to shut people up, which is good because he needed to do that. Yeah. But big bust of the year, Zach Ertz, injured, out a couple games.
I mean, not even that, but Miles Sanders is also got injured, and he's probably going to be unlikely to play against the Giants.
Yeah, I'm already unhappy with him because he coughed up the ball on the 4-yard line, popped out. It was a breakaway run.
Yeah,
him and one defender and a teammate, thankfully, there with him, who scooped it up for a touchdown. But that could have been Miles Sanders' touchdown.
Yeah.
That would have been like a 78-yard touchdown run. But instead, it's a 74-yard run with a fumble at the end.
I'm trying to think who got credit for that touchdown. Let's see. It was
Jason Kroom.
No, Arcega-Whiteside. JJ Arcega-Whiteside.
Yeah,
it's a 0-yard fumble recovery.
Yep.
And then the 2-point conversion failed as they went for 2 to try to make it 17-8. But it's the Eagles. Yeah, Zach Ertz injured. They're saying 3 to 4 weeks. Don't know if you said that, Dave. And then Miles Sanders is likely out versus the Giants. So, like,
And it sucks.
Who knows? Giants could get 2 wins.
Philly season just sucks, let's be honest.
Yeah, and I mean, what? Looking at this division now, you've got, here, let me pull up the division rankings. Like, I know Andy Dalton plays tonight, but, like, let's say Andy Dalton loses. That means you've got the winning team in the NFC East at 2-4. Could we, here, I want to ask you this question, because my dad asked me this when we were eating lunch yesterday.
That team make the playoffs?
Yeah, because my dad asked, has a team ever made the playoffs and not been 500, which I said yes. The Seahawks were 7-9. They flexed that because it was them and the Rams. Winner goes to 7-9. Winner makes the playoffs. They flexed to Sunday night, and that was beast mode. And the Seahawks won that game. That was when they had like the old, like all fucking that like light teal blue color before they switched the logo over to what it is now. Question I just had in my head.
Sure.
Could we see a 6-10 team in the playoffs because of the NFC East?
Yes, 100% yes. Yeah.
Like Dak Prescott not playing, Cowboys could lose tonight, go to 2-4, and you would have a 2-4 team. Let's see, if we pull up the playoffs, they would be the 4th seed above the Green Bay Packers. The the New Orleans Saints, who are 3-2. The Cardinals, who would be 4-2 after beating them, would be out of the playoffs because they don't play in that division, Dave.
It's not good. It's not good, Ricky.
Yeah, that's just, ugh. And then, Dave, the game that made me happier than a pig in slop, is I believe what people say, is Big Ben did not have a good game fantasy-wise. It's okay. I'm going to have a talking to him this week. We're going to get on the right game plan for next week.
Yeah, handed the ball off.
Yeah, so the girly men can go ahead and get back in the win column next week. But Dave, God, did Baker Mayfield have a bad day, and it made me happy. The Browns thought that they could hang with the big dogs, and no, they could not, because the Steelers are indeed the team that let the dogs out, Dave.
This was the revenge game. This was Myles Garrett revenge game. This was, hey, Mason Rudolph's coming for you. And he actually got a snap out there.
He threw a pass, a 6-yard pass.
He got out there at the end of the game. Good on him. No, I mean, this was, I was cracking up because the commentary from the McAfee show this morning was spot on. Every time they got in that backfield, it looked like they were just coming at those ribs. It was like, you saw like people just two-handed, like punch tackling at his ribs. So Baker Mayfield, known injury, kept getting attacked, and it looked bad out there. He is he's in rough shape. And I don't know
what his QBR was?
5.4.
That is bad, Dave. I don't think I've ever seen a fucking QBR in the single digits.
Rex Gross.
Okay, besides Rex. I mean, recently, I don't know if I've ever seen one in the single digits. Usually it's like, oh, well,
we've had a couple this year, actually.
Really? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I just this made me happy, obviously, because the Baker Mayfield fans, the Brown fans, they're all in the same thing. And it's like, Sam posted this in the Discord of they beat mediocre teams. And then they feel like we're a good team. We're 4-1. And then they play a team like the Steelers and get their fucking ass kicked.
Yeah, somehow they were a better 4-1 team than the Bears, though. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, apparently. But that was wrong because they lost, Dave. Yeah, they lost. Yeah. And like I said, happier than a pig in slop. The next one, Dave, I knew this was coming. When I made the pick of, I'm going to go with Jacksonville in this game, there was a part of me that was like, the Lions could win this game. And the Lions did win this game, Dave. Not only did AP have a touchdown, DeAndre Swift had 2 touchdowns in this game.
DeAndre Swift coming through this game.
Yeah, I didn't either. But the Lions get 34-16, and Minshew Mania runs over nobody in this game.
Is DeAndre Swift good now?
He was good in college. That was the thing.
Yeah, but he started his NFL career by being a joke.
Yeah, I know. That's I thought he was going to be the one before they got AP. I was like, if Kerryon Johnson gets injured again, I'm like, I can't wait to see what DeAndre Swift does. Then they get AP, and it's like, oh, well, that's interesting. Now it's Kerryon and Swift. And it's like, what, is it going to be AP and Swift the rest of the way now? Because Kerryon only got 4 carries.
Kerryon's not coming back. The answer. He is done on that depth chart. Yeah. So, shocker for DeAndre Swift to me, but good on him. This team in Detroit, we talked about them. They're a good team. They just kept finding a way to fuck it up. Jacksonville,
Did we expect anything out of Jacksonville? Maybe
No.
like 7-9 at the best.
And
Like,
that would be a great year, I'm pretty sure, by
yeah,
our prediction
like
standpoint.
this is not a.
I think I might have had them at 5 wins.
Did you? I'll spot check you there, but yeah, like this was
Yeah.
this was one where it was like I knew when I picked this game, I was like I'm gonna go with the Jaguars, but I was like fuck, I should probably go with the Browns here.
Yeah, no, it was not a great game by any means. It was just Detroit felt like they could move the ball at will, though, which was great because, again, 39 rushing attempts by them. Wonderful job controlling the clock.
You had Jacksonville at 3-13, Dave.
Ooh, somebody's spot on, maybe.
You had them at 3-13, but you also had the Texans at 11-5.
They're on. Wait, you had what?
You had the Texans at 11-5. That was the other. Like that's when you're like, someone's spot on. I had to throw the other side at you too.
I also had the Dolphins pretty high.
Yeah, I had Jacksonville at 5-11.
So again, I feel like I'm on pace for my Jacksonville pick.
Yeah,
They're
5-11 is what I had. Dave had the Dolphins really good. Had them maybe as a playoff team, I believe.
Well, Ryan fucking Fitzmagic might get them there anyway. I thought Tua would.
Hey, moving right in though, the Dolphins get the win over the Jets, and we saw a Tua sighting. And like you said, Dave, when we were playing COD, fucking Fitzpatrick on the sideline saying, "Get up, everybody! It's Tua time."
Ryan Fitzpatrick, like it's Alex Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick. These are the two guys you want in your locker room. That's your quarterbacks, guys. Those are the guys who are there to do it all. They're going to lay it all on the line. Doesn't matter if they're starting. Doesn't matter if they're coming off the bench. Doesn't matter if they're going to hold the clipboard the whole time. Those are the guys you want around you. Ryan Fitzpatrick, the ultimate gamer, it feels like. That man has a passion for the game.
No, man. Tim Tebow's the ultimate gamer. Let's get it right now.
I think the only person happier than Ryan Fitzpatrick was Tua himself to see Tua in the game. Like, that's all it was. And then did you see the photo after of Tua
I did not.
wearing the pant? He was out on the field after the game wearing the pads by himself and on a Skype call with his family. And it was just like, that's like almost a tear moment. It's like, dude, that is just, it's him in an empty field.
Nice.
It's like, wow.
Dave, I got a little bit of trivia for this game for you. You ready?
Sure. Adam Shaheen's the answer.
This is the Dolphins' first shutout win since the date was November 2nd, 2014. Do you want to take a guess at what team they beat? It was not the Bears.
I don't care.
It's an AFC team in the AFC
Patriots.
West.
Patriots.
The West.
Oh, the West. AFC West. Fucking Rams.
The Chargers.
Okay.
They beat the Chargers 37-0, where Phillip Rivers threw 3 picks and no interceptions. The leading scorers in that game were Tannehill had 3 touchdowns for the Dolphins. Lamar Miller had a touchdown on the ground. And then a name I haven't heard in quite some time of Charles Clay, the tight end, had a touchdown from Ryan Tannehill. Yeah, great Buffalo Bill.
Now we have Adam Shaheen, the great Miami tight end.
The great former Bear, putting some respect on it. Also, in the Bears game, we forgot to say that Kmet got a touchdown.
Cole Kmet.
Yeah, like you said, didn't know he was allowed to catch things.
Yeah, I thought Chewy Grahams was the only tight end we were allowed to throw the ball to.
Dave, 3 more quick games. The first one, Packers-Bucks. Bucks get the 38-10 lead, or 38-10 win. This is something, Dave, where Michael Irvin on NFL, before the games, hit it correctly. He said, last week, Tom Brady might have been the GOAT, the lowercase GOAT, like GOAT of the week. But he's like, he will correct this week. And the uppercase GOAT, GOAT, is going to make things right. He did. 2 touchdowns, no INTs. Gronk had a touchdown. Rojo had 2 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers, no touchdowns, 2 INTs though.
Yeah, I mean, the game spun on a dime when Aaron threw that pick 6. Yeah, that was game over. All the momentum gone. Everything they had going towards that game gone. It's a damn shame that they start off the game so well. It just seems like their defense crumbled. Their offense couldn't get it going again. They were just. It was bad shape, it was bad pass by Rodgers, which you don't see too often. So that Bucks defense gets at it, and they do it with a force down there. some big boys.
Yeah, I mean, the good thing, though, for Green Bay is number one. Number one, I feel sorry for the Houston Texans because, like Cowherd said this week, the line opened up at the Packers at a 4-point favorite. And he's like, that's the bet of the week because it's not going to be in my mind, not going to be a close game.
Yeah, I think probably people are going to put that line up to about 6.
Yeah. And then after that, they get the Vikings. So 2 teams that I think they should beat handily.
They're just going to punch bag some teams.
Yes. I mean, yeah, they beat us 43-34, but we're a different team than we were week 1, meaning we suck. And they're going to demolish us.
2 scores at the end of the game?
They're going to demolish us, Dave. It won't be close.
That was a 43-20 game, and you're like, oh, we get some pity scores.
We won't even get 34 in that game. That's what I'm thinking. I am that low on my team. To where Green Bay, you will bounce back. Don't hang your head after this one. The Sunday night game, though, Dave, I'm surprised. I thought the Rams were going to win this one. Aaron Donald, I didn't know what to expect from Jimmy G. After being benched the week before. But hey, Jimmy G, I guess he's back. 3 touchdowns, and the Niners get the win.
He was slinging it out there. George Kittle, great job out there. Soak up the yards. My boy Debo back on the field, running well, playing healthy. Had a couple runs, he had a run. So trick plays don't always work out. That's just a quick reminder that just because he has some speed, you don't need to factor it in there. Just let him catch the ball and make work in space. Like, he's good at that. And he is. He, again, 6 targets, 6 catches, great hands out there, and a touchdown. So shout out to Debo.
The only bad thing is Raheem Oster. High left ankle sprain. It looks like he's most likely going to go back to the IR. So could be out for a couple weeks. What
a shame for a star. He looked good out there running.
Well, he's a guy that, like, I know I have on my fantasy team, and he's a guy that if he's healthy,
I'm going to trade for 2 injury-prone players in Kittle and Mostert.
Hey, like I said, it was a risk I was willing to take. Kittle's been paying off. Mostert, when healthy, pays off. Now, if I would have fucking played if I would have played Justin Jefferson this week, but at the same time, did you see Justin Jefferson getting 30 points? Because I didn't. I didn't even see us getting any points in that game. I had us getting the win, but that was just my heart.
I'm just disappointed with this Rams team, though. Like, are they just a team that's really good at beating bad teams? Like, is that their job in the NFL? It's just we're going to beat down on bad teams? Because, I mean, the San Francisco 49ers are a good team, and they looked hopeless. I want to say
you look at their 4 wins, and it's the NFC least.
Yeah.
That's their 4 wins.
Fair. I think we crowned them a little early. I think that everybody wanted to be like, well, the Rams are back. They're stronger than ever. And it's like, no, the Rams beat a bunch of shit teams.
It depends on, let's see how they play on Monday night against the worst 5-1, the worst 5-1 team, Dave, the Chicago Bears. They've got the Bears. They've got them Miami. But yeah, after the bye in week 9, it's Seattle, Tampa Bay. So this is something where this Rams team, if they're going to want to make the playoffs, they're going to have to find some answers because, like we said, the NFC least.
Cooper Kupp not getting much success out there. He did have 7 targets, but out of those 7 targets, I probably want to say maybe 4 were catchable, and he brought in 3 of the 4. So I don't know. I don't like their balance on the offense. I think Jared Goff, I don't know if it's just babying Jared Goff or not babying, protecting Jared Goff.
Yeah. But
it does feel like they've got a lot of room to grow still.
And Dave, the last game just wrapped up a couple minutes ago. Chiefs officially get the win, 5-1.
Ran for about 1 billion yards that game.
Yeah, the Chiefs got the win, 25-17. 26-17. Mahomes 2 tutties. Edwards-Helaire, 161 yards, no touchdowns. That's going to go to D. Will. This is something where, like, I expected the Chiefs to get the win. Yes, Josh Allen had 2 touchdowns, only 1 INT, one of those touchdowns going to Stephon Diggs. Yep. This, to me, was a matchup, though, that it was like, to me, this was the measuring stick for the Buffalo Bills of like, okay, you're a 4-1 team. How are you going to hang in there? I know they only lose at the end of the day by 9 points. But to me, this might be something indicative of like, okay, the Bills this year might win the AFC East. Correct. They might even win a playoff game depending on who that first opponent is, but I don't expect this team to go as far as many thought they would after they went out to that 4-0 start.
I mean, look, they held up pretty well against the Chiefs. I wouldn't say no. I think the one bummer this year is we haven't seen like John Brown really get comfy in this team yet. Like for somebody who was new to the team and Stephon Diggs, he seems to just fit right in. It's like, oh, game plan is we're going to open up the field with Stephon Diggs out there. John Brown's been like hurt and then a mystery of like, we're just not going to throw John Brown the ball. It's what happened to him this season? I don't understand why he's not part of their offense anymore.
4 targets today, no catches.
He's not, I don't know if he's bad at football overnight or what happened, but got to figure out what the shit happened there. But yeah, no, Chiefs are good. Bills are still pretty good in my mind. I think the Chiefs will still be maybe a 9-win team, looking at it.
Yeah, I mean, this Chiefs team is showing, like you said earlier, when I disrespected them a little bit, where they are the reigning champs. They are the ones that are going to go ahead and basically 5-1, should be 6-0, because the one loss they did have, it was like one of those games counts. Where it's like, it counts, but it was one where it's like, shit, man, the Raiders just played better. Raiders earned that win, is what I'm trying to say, to where it's like, this team could have easily been 6-0 on the season. And they're one that's not going to stop. The Bills, though, it's going to be, what do you do from this? You started out 4-0. This is now your second loss. This is your first adversity of the season. How do you change this? What do you do to kind of flip this script, get back to those winning ways? Because, I mean, you got the Jets next week, so you should be able to do that.
You can literally go in there in reverse and still just roll right over them. So.
Dave's like, you just stand still. You don't even have to play football and you'll win.
If the Bills score 2 touchdowns, they could kneel for the rest of the game and win the game.
Ooh.
I heard a thing on that.
Yeah.
The only reason I bring it up was the whole 28-3. Somebody did a study on that game.
Yeah.
And they found out if following halftime, or I think following their final score, Falcons had kneeled every possession, they would have won the game.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's kind of nuts.
I mean, someone posted on Twitter today, oh man, it's been a bad 4 years for Georgia. It was the Atlanta score against the Patriots, and then the Georgia-Alabama score from this weekend, because they were up 20-7.
Were they?
So it was like, ooh, it's been a bad 4 years for the state of Georgia. But that's going to do it for MVP Sports Live today. We got this in Twitch chat, so I'll throw it out there. If you ever miss a Twitch stream, these always go on YouTube. So you can catch them at MVP Sports as well. Make sure to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/MVPvids. Join the Discord, that link down below, or !Discord into Twitch chat. You can also support us by throwing us a sub on Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVPvids. But like I said, these go up on YouTube as well, MVP Sports, so go ahead, check us out there too. Dave and I will be back for more sports coverage tomorrow. Want to thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for listening, and as always, have a good day, everybody.